I come to you in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. So I told you we would all get to the places that we were supposed to go. And we made it. We made it. After becoming a parent, my perspective on a whole lot of things, many things, changed significantly. After becoming a parent, my definition of a good restaurant no longer depended upon how many beers were on tap, or the ambiance of the space, or even the quality of the food. The only thing that really mattered was whether or not they had a children's menu with macaroni and cheese, chicken nuggets, and other tanned-colored foods that my children like to eat. When it came time to buy a new car, it did not matter how fast it could go from 0 to 60. It did not matter if it had four-wheel drive capability. It did not matter if the color was pretty. All that mattered is how many car seats can I shove into this thing? And most importantly, does the upholstery go with the color of McDonald's French fries? When invited over to a friend's house for supper, my first question changed from, what can I bring, to, do you have anything breakable in your house that my toddler might destroy? When I became a parent, I began to see space differently. And it mattered immensely whether or not there was space for children. Whether or not there was accessible, welcoming space for small bodies that like to move around, small bodies fully equipped with outside voices used in inside places, small bodies that see the world as a place to explore, small bodies that oftentimes treat meatballs like baseballs. After I became a parent, one of the most important questions became, is there space for children? Now, Jesus was never a parent. We know this because if he was a parent, he would not have had to multiply bread and fish to feed the 5,000. He would have just reached into his backpack and fed the multitude with an endless supply of goldfish crackers, granola bars, and juice boxes. Jesus was never a parent. And yet, he made it a priority to make space for children. One of the most memorable and well-beloved stories in the entire Bible is when Jesus welcomes the children, places them in his arms, and blesses them. This story, oftentimes over-sentimentalized, is found in 99.9% of all children's Bibles. It's found in Sunday school rooms of all denominations, and it is immortalized in stained glass windows throughout the world and across this nation. In fact, we have our own depiction of Jesus welcoming the children right over there. We can see it each and every Sunday. It reminds us of the time when Jesus, in the middle of his preaching, in the middle of his teaching, in the middle of his healing, looks out into the crowd and he sees a whole mess of children hanging out next to their parents on the margins of the congregation. He sees that folks are sitting so close that there's not room for mothers and fathers to push their baby strollers to the place of grace. He hears his disciples telling parents that there's no room for them or their children next to Jesus. He watches as pious people give the stink eye to children who are laughing and making noise during his sermon, and so he stops everything he is doing. And he says to anyone who is listening, "Suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven." Jesus made space for children where they could be welcomed, loved, and blessed. Jesus made accessible space for children, for your children, for my children, for grandchildren, for trans children, for children with special needs, for children who are loud, for children who are quiet, for children who are still, for children who move a lot. Jesus made space for all God's children. At least that's what the good book says. That's what the Sunday school teacher says. That's what the nursery song says. That is what the window in our church says. And this wasn't just a one-time event. All throughout the Gospels, Jesus makes space for children, including this morning, in the gospel lesson that we oftentimes call Jesus' cleansing of the temple. Now, on a side note, we probably shouldn't call it that, because Jesus isn't holding a mop. He's not holding a broom, and as far as I can tell, there ain't one bottle of Windex amongst the apostolic band. This ain't no cleansing. This is a peace disturbance. This is an act of civil disobedience that shuts down the economic, the political, and the religious center of an entire nation. This ain't no cleansing, because cleaning the church won't get you killed. But as we will see later on this morning, disrupting the space where profit is generated off of poor people will get you crucified. And this act of civil disobedience is not just about kicking all the quote-unquote bad people out, the dove sellers and the money changers and the profiteers. It's not just about what Jesus cleans out. It is also about who Jesus lets in. Jesus' disruption makes space at the center of grace for those who have traditionally been left out. By turning over the tables, Jesus makes room for all sorts and conditions of people, so that at the very center of the Jerusalem temple, there is space for those who have been ignored by their community. There is space for those with compromised immunity. There is space for those who would prefer to walk rather than sit with Jesus during the liturgy. There is space for folks of all sizes, shapes, and abilities. And yes, friends, there is space for children. They're right there at the very center, standing right next to Jesus, shouting out, "Hosanna," in what I can only imagine were outside voices. And sure, this aggravates a few members of the congregation, but Jesus says the children should not be silenced, for they matter just as much as anybody else. And in order to make accessible space for children, Jesus has to rearrange a few pieces of holy furniture. He's got to turn over a few tables. He's got to kick out the dove sellers, because if the price of admission is one dove per person, that makes it awfully costly for a family to make it to church each and every Sunday. Jesus disrupts the temple in order to make space for children, in order to make room for the most vulnerable, because Jesus knows that it's not the organ that makes a space holy. It's not the preaching that makes a space holy. It's not the stained glass windows that makes a space holy. It's not proper Anglican liturgy that makes a space holy, or the type of seating in the building that makes a space holy. Now, don't get me wrong, those are all good things, beautiful things, things that are worthy of our time and our attention. But in the end, It is when people, particularly excluded, downtrodden, and vulnerable people, it is when people receive access to the means of grace that a space becomes truly holy. It is the voices of children making noise during the sermon that helps to make a space holy, because as Jesus said, out of the mouths of infants and nursing babies, God has ordained praise for God's self. It is small hands reaching out to Jesus at our altar rail that helps make a space holy, because Jesus said, "Suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven." It is when small bodies are loved and cherished by the community that a space becomes more holy, because it was Jesus himself who said to his disciples while holding a child on his lap, "If you want to be great, make space for her." Jesus made space for folks of all shapes, sizes, and abilities, and yes, that included children. And here in Nativity, we're trying to do the same thing. A group of parents with young children is creating and designing what is sometimes called a soft space right here in our sanctuary. A soft space that has seating that's comfortable for children, a space that has a little extra room to move and wiggle, a little extra room for car seats and strollers, and some soft toys and books and sensory items that will help to make this space more accessible to families and their children. It's going to be right there in Sayre Chapel. And if all goes well, it will debut, at least in part, this Easter Sunday. Now, just to be clear, this is not going to replace Sunday school. It's not going to replace nursery, and it's not going to replace the 3-2-1 service. All of those things will continue to be available, but friends, our stained glass window cannot be the only place for children in our sanctuary. And as this space becomes more accessible to children and their families, it will become even more holy. And we need more accessible spaces for children. Not just in this sanctuary, but across this nation. Spaces where children can be loved, cherished, and blessed, even if that means turning over a few tables. And friends, let me tell you, there are some tables that must be turned over in order to make space for all of our children. Last week, I witnessed, and we all witnessed, yet another mass shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. A mass shooting that took the lives of 3 9-year-old children, children about the same age as my children, children about the same age as some of your children or grandchildren. And in light of this atrocity, I am convinced more than ever that the tables of an unholy gun lobby must be overturned, because so long as the Second Amendment is more important than the greatest commandment, so long as the right to bear arms is more important than our children's right to live, so long as an M16 is valued over the words of John 3:16, there ain't enough space for all of our children. As I look across this nation and I see legislatures that are passing legislation and laws that discriminate against trans children, denying them access to health care and resources, I am convinced more than ever that the tables of transphobia must be turned over, because so long as trans children are not treated with respect and dignity, so long as trans children are excluded from beloved community, so long as religious leaders and policy makers try to erase trans identity, there ain't space for all all our children. And as states all across this nation, including Pennsylvania, move to limit and to reduce SNAP and WIC benefits for children, for families with children, essentially stealing the bread from the mouths of babies, I am convinced more than ever that the tables of an economy that are built on greed, capitalism, and scarcity must be overturned, because so long as tax breaks for the wealthy come at the expense of children who are hungry, there ain't space for all our children. And so this morning, I too offer my thoughts and my prayers for the children, but my prayer is this: dear Jesus, turn over the tables like you did in Jerusalem to make space for the children. Dear Jesus, turn over the tables and Jerusalem so you can make space for all our children. Dear Jesus, turn over the tables like you did in Jerusalem to make space for your children and my children and trans children and school children and all of God's children. And when you do, take me with you, because I'd like to turn over a table or two myself. Amen.